In the summer of 1917, Nikola Tesla made perhaps his greatest and most tragic invention, an autonomous machine he dubbed SVIPUL, the Sentient Voltaic Inclined Propulsive Unit Long-Lasting. While Tesla was away, however, Edison's goon squad destroyed the laboratory and put to fire all of the documentation and plans for Tesla's genius. It was rumoured in the days following that the Svipul had managed to escape on its own, but no one even believed in a Svipul in the first place. Obviously, Tesla was insane, or so Edison would have us believe. Reports began to surface later that year of a mechanical man working with the Americans in the trenches in France. Such reports were cast aside as the ravings of soldiers suffering from shell shock, and no one truly believed them. However, if one is willing to connect the threads, a complete picture starts to emerge. The mechanical man Svipul is real and living among us, much further back than modern historians are willing to believe. After the war, it appears that Svipul wandered the globe before finally settling into a life in the United States. Documents from those days are hard to come by, but we are certain he worked and paid his own way. Even during the Great Depression, Svipul spent time on the Hoover Dam project. There are countless other stories from these times that we could recount, and for a complete history, please pick up my new book called Svipul: The Complete History from Amazon. It is chock full of delightful pictures, first-person accounts, and plenty of fabricated documentation. It is, however, Svipul's years in Hollywood that most people care about. Svipul had served as the inspiration for Fritz Lang's Metropolis, but the main role in the movie had gone to a female robot instead. It wasn't until the 1950s that he entered the public eye. His earliest role was in the television series Lost in Space. While the role gave him some measure of fame, it proved to be a double-edged sword, and Svipul found it difficult to find new work. He had been typecast. In the mid-70s, George Lucas gave serious consideration to using him in Star Wars. But Svipul proved difficult to work with on set, and the part went to the Metropolis robot's son, C-3PO. Heartbroken, Svipul took the only thing left to him, a Disney film called The Black Hole, when he played the bad guy robot Maximilian. And then Svipul got his biggest break to date. John Badham, whom Svipul had once pulled from a burning building in Los Angeles, decided to make a comedy based loosely on Svipul's life, a modern retelling in the way that only 1980s cinema could do. The movie bombed at the box office, and while it would gain much love on VHS later, Svipul never saw a dime. These were dark years. Drugs, homelessness, science fiction conventions, bottom of the barrel stuff. He made do with what he could, primarily as a guest on children's cartoon shows. The generation that grew up on bad 80s science fiction grew up and maintained a love for Svipul. Soon those kids were making movies of their own, and Svipul started to gain more and more popularity. First getting cast in the semi-successful adaptation of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and then in Michael Bay's Transformers, reprising the role he had originally made famous in those cartoons from decades before. As Svipul nears 100 years of life, possibly his biggest break is hitting the screens soon. From all accounts, this will be his masterpiece. It is also worth noting that Svipul's design has been lovingly transformed into a ship design inside a computer game called EVE Online. But that is certainly a minor note in such an amazing life as his.